All right, Jack here. Now, it's been a couple days since the last video I did. It's actually early in the morning and it's overcast, and I figured I might be able to do a bit better of a job for you guys with these videos where I can actually see what the iPhone sees and it's not glared out. There will be some road noise. I'll just apologize in advance. There's nothing I can do about it. I am out right near my road right now, so that's why it's so loud. As I go up the swales, the road noise will get less and less. So this is my mid-swale in the 3-swale system in the main food forest, and I'm going to take you through it, show you what's planted in it, what's actually we've lost, and what we've been doing since we put the trees in. We did have some losses this year, and I'd say I've had more in this swale than the others. Of course, it's longer and therefore it has more plants, but this plant right here at the front's doing well. That's an shimmer apple, another one of the Israeli apples that I keep talking about. And that little clump right there, you see a fig growing next to all this daikon, which there's no good reason for daikon to be growing out in this heat right now, but it is. And that fig's doing just wonderful. That is another fig that was given me by the same guy in the earlier video, but this one he called an Egyptian white. He said that tree's close to 100 years old that cutting came from. Real quick, as I go through here, there's some nasturtium coming up, but you'll see tons of seedlings starting to come up. I just went through and you see all this straw. These swales were covered with cereal grain, rye, wheat, triticale, oat. I went through and chopped and dropped it all, and I used a string trimmer. Yes, a permaculturist can use a string trimmer. It was just the right tool for the job. It let me get through it fast by myself and gave me enough precision that I could get around the trees and not kill anything. I did hit one hidden gooseberry out of all the swales, so it wasn't that bad. And I left a stubble, and let me get down here. There's a stubble here about as high as the top of this stuff, and that helps hold it in place. But just to give you an idea how much cover there is, so that gets us down to the original mulch. And then the original mulch, pull that back, and we get down to the dirt. So you can see that I'm about 4 inches into mulch, and half of it's compacted mulch. And we're just now seeing all of this cover crop come up. This is like a second cover crop of the year, so everything got chopped and dropped and we seeded again. There is a mixture of mostly cowpea and buckwheat, some millet, a few other things, some clovers, which probably won't do good in the heat, but I threw them in just for the heck of it, a little bit of daikon, and sunflower, because the sunflowers work so well elsewhere. I'll talk more about the sunflower in a second. That's an Abekua olive, and that's another Abekua olive, so I've kind of done them in a little clump here. In this area that they're sitting in, that's due south, so the sun does this in the sun or the winter. So if they're going to make it, and they're supposed to be hardy to my zone, this is probably the best place as a heat trap for them. That's why we planted this feijoa here. We planted this feijoa, and we got that late frost I keep talking about. Came in and knocked it down. I thought it was dead, but you can see it's coming back. That's a Mexicola avocado. Again, out here I've got the heat traps where I've planted all my stuff that's marginal. And that's a Brazos Bell avocado. Both of those are supposed to be hardy to this area. Again, cover crop just starting to peek through. There's some red cowpea, bush apricot right there. And that right there, I'd have to look at the print to tell you because the tags fell off of it, but that's an apple of some variety, and that's why you want to print, if nothing else, just so you don't forget what you put where. This is another apple. That is a Fuji. That right there is a peach, and that peach was planted right smack in the middle of where one of the other swales is now, so we yanked it out of the ground with the excavator. We were not friendly to it. We just shoved it in the ground there, and son of a gun, it came back and lived. This is a blackberry clump that's supposed to have chingapin through it. We had lots of problems with our chingapins. Bob Wells kind of warned me that they had problems and has offered to replace all the ones I lost in the fall and get them in the fall going into next year. But some of them made it, and now some of them are just crashing. So there's a chingapin, which is kind of like a dwarf chestnut sort of that likes swampy areas. You can see it's doing good. We got a lot of blackberry coming up in here doing really good. This is designed to be a clump, and chingapins only grow about yay high, so that would give us a view from the house into the forest through this clumpy area. But you can see this chingapin right here. That tree looked good a couple days ago, and it just crashed. I'm not sure You know, that's part of learning here. We might switch to Chinese chestnut. It might be too dry here for chinkapin to do well. But this little guy right here is doing all right. He's doing fine. More blackberry. There's about 6 different varieties of blackberries in here and more to come. Comfrey, there's comfrey all over through here. That's a mini royal cherry. Either that or a rolly, I don't remember which one. More blackberry, more cover crop. Right there, you can see I'm training this vine. I'll get on the other side, it's probably better for you. So I'm training this vine up this tree. This is called a Big Red muscadine. It's a proprietary muscadine to Ison's Nursery. I'm gonna go up that tree. Nice structure to work with, train it out on. That way this oak tree serves a purpose, because otherwise it doesn't serve much of one. We've got cowpea and buckwheat and a lot of other stuff coming up through here. Is that second cover crop. There's a little bit of legacy vetch from the last crop. You can see it all coming through. Now, I did not disturb the soil. I threw that cover crop right on the lower mulch. Then I chopped and dropped on top of it, and then I threw some hay on top of that, or straw actually on top of that. And then there's the other cross-pollinating cherry, either royal or mini royal. Those are low chill cherries. These ones here are doing okay. That is a plum. I believe that's a methany plum, but I could be wrong. Again, I'd have to refer to my print. That's a Jonah red apple, because I can read the tag from here. Almost all these trees came from Bob Wells. Almost all of them. This is a peach, and it was really odd shaped. The Sam Houston peach. Figured Sam Houston peaches should do well in Texas. So we really prune this one heavy. Sometimes that's what you got to do to get the shape you want in a tree. Coming over here, I got a red chief nectarine. It's actually a really great nectarine for Texas. Really, really wonderful fruit. They usually sell for 24 to 30 bucks. I got that tree for $10 from Lowe's and replaced a tree that we lost with it. And it was in such good shape, and it was a well-rooted tree, and it was in a pot. So I went ahead and threw it in instead of waiting till fall, and it seems to not care. It's just rocking on. This is a 20th century Asian pear. I've had the pears start to fruit on me. I've thinned the fruit on most of them, but I decided to let this one go. So that tree was planted like 3 months ago at the most, and it's got quite a few pears on it. Here's the sad area, I call it, where we did have most of our losses. We had a persimmon we lost. I didn't have a single persimmon make it this year, no matter, I had 3 different suppliers and none of them came up. Something's up with persimmons this year. Right there, that's an Arkansas black apple. It's not exactly happy, but it'll make it through. This was another peach. Techstar did not make it. This was an almond. Did not make it. I have replacement almonds I showed you in the other video, though, that'll go in the fall. That is a white mulberry. It's actually a proprietary name, a trademark name called Beautiful Day, but it's just a white mulberry. So you could propagate that. You could even sell that. You just can't sell it as Beautiful Day. You just have to sell it as white mulberry. And then over here, we also lost our pawpaw. But as you saw, I'm growing them from seed, and that little guy right there, hiding down there underneath the cowpea, that's a pawpaw growing from seed, and it's doing pretty well. And then this was designed to be kind of a little cool clump, a little native plum clump. So I have 2 different types of native plum. Just a straight native plum and what's known as a Chickasaw native plum. There's 5 of them planted in a clump here, right just in that area right there. So this will be a plum clump right on the end as we come through. So that's our long main swale. And we do have some planning to do to make up for it. And I want you to try to get a vision of what's going to happen here. When I water right now, what I do is I bring those whirlybird sprinklers through I showed you. And it waters out. I'll just do it with the camera. To about right at the edge of my camera on my left side. That's about how far that water goes out. So I'm going to show you sheet mulching later, but what we're going to do over the next couple of months, because it's not really a hard job to do even in the heat. I'm going to start bringing in materials, and I'm going to sheet mulch the edge of this swale out about 10 feet all the way down to the end, and do a design to plant in and extend this food forest out and to start bridging this gap toward the other swale. Right down there in the center, where they're pretty close right there, That whole area there is probably going to be completely sheet mulched from one to the other, connecting the sheet mulch that's already there. And we'll do a design for that. We're also going to extend that sheet mulching out here. We'll try to get this hugel bed, I'll show you in a bit, covered over, and sheet mulch the inside of that hugel bed right up to the edge of the swale. And basically do a design. And we may do a food forest workshop in the fall, designing these out, and whatever I can get we plant, and whatever I can't get we design for the spring. Anyway, sit tight and I'll get another video for you.